Hey guys, so I recently got asked a really interesting question. Someone said on one of my setup videos, Robbie, I've seen your kit list video, I've seen your setup video, but how did you get on in the race around Netherlands? And I thought, hey, I didn't actually make any videos post-race, so why don't I start doing those? So I thought, hey, why not? So this is a video really to answer a question for someone how I got on in the race around Netherlands. So this was my setup. So this was it. This was my Lynskey Titanium Sportive. As you can see, I'm on the Dura-Ace 9170 wheels. I was running Exposure 30C tyres, Pro Missile tri-bars, Pro Stealth saddle. And yeah, the bike, for me personally, worked really well. Really well. But if I was just to change anything, it went in a little bit too aggressive on the frame. In the future, I'll probably use something like this. It's a GR270. The reason why, bigger head tube, bigger stack, it'd just be a little bit more comfortable here, a little bit less pressure off my back. But apart from that, the bike was perfect. It was just a little bit too aggressive for a very flat race like that. So let me explain a little bit story about how the race went to tell you about what kind of changes I've made to the kit list. So as far as spares go and tools and things like that, nothing really major went wrong, so I didn't really need any of them. So I'm not going to talk about that. But let's start talking about the race and where it all started. So this is me just at the start. This was just before the morning. I made the very wise choice of, instead of staying in the hostel with everyone else the night before, I booked myself a hotel. And my dad was actually in Holland at the time. So he stayed with me, and literally I got a really good night's sleep. So I wasn't in a hostel, I was getting woken up all night. I had a good solid 10 hours before the race. And as you can see, it was pretty cold even on the morning. I was wearing, very little clothing, and I just thought, wow, actually, I hope it warms up in the day. And I remember thinking that. I was very nervous, but I thought, hey, I hope it warms up. And everyone saying to me, God, man, you're crazy. Where's all your stuff? And I'm sitting there thinking, what do you mean? The majority of my stuff is in the frame bag. The actual front bag was just full of carbohydrate powder, which is quite crazy. So the race started, and I was looking back through kind of all my social media updates, and I just remember saying about how cold it was and how the weather was kind of changing quite rapidly. And I remember on the first day checking the forecast the next few days thinking, wow, the weather's getting pretty brutal, and I didn't expect it to get so cold, and it really threw me off. I'm not even going to lie. The weather took a turn. Everyone said, my God, I didn't prep for this, and nor did I. So you can see here I'm racing, shorts, t-shirts, stuff like that. So the first stint I did, I actually rode from the start all the way through the night, and then literally through till the next evening. And I remember the morning, so I'd just ridden through the night and getting a message from my mum saying, you realise you're in second? And I'm like, what? 1 minute, a while ago, 12, 15 hours ago, I was in 50th. So how have I got to second, I don't know. But what happened is a lot of people have gone to sleep, a lot of people had to detour off the route to get food. But I luckily, because I had so much carbohydrate powder, I just sailed through. So all I needed to get was water, and that was pretty accessible in Holland because you could pretty much drink from any tap. It's really good, clean water there. So I got my first night's kit. I probably slept a little bit too early. I think I had the energy to go on. I made a massive mistake in detouring to a hotel because I stopped somewhere where I probably shouldn't have done. Where there was only one hotel in this whole town, and this town was huge. So I probably gained another 9k just pissing about getting to this hotel and back. So massive error, waste of time, crap night's sleep. The hotel wasn't cheap. I definitely should have carried on riding. But after you've ridden, I'd ridden 800 and something K at this point. So I was pretty tired, but you've got to think about the longevity of this and how you can keep riding throughout and pushing to the finish of these races. So I get up the next day, I'm tired, I'm cold. You see here, I'm in full winter gear now, arm warmers, leg warmers, everything, just to stay warm. And I'm freezing all day, I've even got my normal kind of gloves that I'd wear down to about 6 degrees, and plus under it, I've got marigolds on. You can't see this, but I'm actually wearing bloody marigolds just to keep a little bit of warmth in my hands. It's just not working, but one thing about this race is I was enjoying pretty much every moment. It was a really fun race. It was really safe. It was all cyclopaths. It was really cool. I can honestly say everything was just fantastic. So the days are going by. We're getting to the second day, the third day, and it was about halfway through the third day. I thought, my God, I'm getting so cold at night, and my knees were starting to ache in the cold. And I went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and it is freezing. We are talking like it is 0 degrees, and I'm riding through, and I'm sitting there thinking, God, my knees hurt so bad. And I remember stopping at this little hotel, asking this lady, can I just buy some breakfast here? Yeah, it's fine, that's fine. And I sat down and I texted my dad, because he texted me saying, how you getting on? And I said, Dad, I think I'm going to have to stop. My knees are hurting too much. And he said, you're doing really well, son, just see how you feel, keep going. Your health is the most important thing, which is, what's a very nice thing to hear. So I carried on, took it really slow, started losing places. So at this point, I was in about 5th, then I'm 6th, 7th, 8th, and I'm sitting there thinking, God, I'm just losing places because my knees are hurting so bad. So I decide that I'll take one more sleep and I'm going to try and push all the way through till the end, which was roughly around, I think it was about 500k to the finish, and I really struggled to do it. I ended up kind of sleeping a little bit too much just to rest up to it. I pushed through the last kind of like I say, 400 or 500k to the finish. And I remember going into that night and seeing the forecast, and I was thinking, my God, it's going to be so cold. And just looking at the pictures, a friend of mine called Naz came out to see me. Obviously didn't help me in any single way, just came out to take a few pictures that I could use, but obviously I got no help or support in any way, shape or form. And I look back at the pictures and I just remember being in just so much pain, thinking my knees have never hurt this bad. And so anyway, I finished the race. I ended up in 9th, which I was really happy with. It was about 3 in the morning. I was so cold when I finished. I just couldn't warm up. I'd drank a lot of caffeinated drinks, so I couldn't even sleep after the race for about 6 or 7 hours. And then the weeks after, the recovery just wasn't happening. My knees were in such bad shape. I couldn't ride for 6 weeks. It's a long time. It ruined my whole year because I couldn't train. I went into TCR and then started to get similar issues because I was pushing too hard into still not fully recovered legs, but I read a lot about this and I got something called patellar tendonitis, and it just got into my knees and I just ripped everything in, kind of not ripped everything inside, but I just, the muscles were just bullied. And because they got so cold, if I'd stayed warmer, I probably would have been okay. But I took race arm and leg warmers. I have thick touring ones and I have race ones. I took my race ones. And because the weather turned, I didn't expect to be in 0 degrees. I expected the coldest it'd be for me was maybe about 6 or 7 degrees with wind chill. That's what the forecast said before I went. So, yeah, it really threw me off. The going from 7 degrees to 0, that difference really messed up my kit list. So I finished 9th, so I'm happy with that. I'm not going to moan it. That's a fantastic finish out of 120. But I look back and I made a lot of mistakes. I took the wrong clothes. I slept too much. I stopped in the wrong places. I was making silly mistakes, the whole thing. So the reason why I'm going back is not, oh, I want to win. It's because I want to see if I can better what I did last time. And honestly, I've had a bike fit and all these other things to make sure I'm not going to get these knee problems again. But after doing a lot of research, I realised it was actually due to just getting too cold. It was an amazing race, and I really enjoyed it. And as far as races go, value for money, it was fantastic. So it was a very cheap race. It was like 120 quid or something. So, and that included a night in a hostel before. It's fantastic value for money. And the organisation was great and things like that as well. So I highly recommend it. The differences I'm going to take into my setups next time. So the first thing, less aggressive bikes. When I say less aggressive, the height of my seat here compared to where my handlebars come to. If you look on my other bike, there's a very different. So I had my handlebars down here and my seat up here. So I'm leaning too far forward. I'm hurting my back here. And I remember suffering with a lot of really painful back issues on this ride. And the next thing I'm probably going to do is take warmer clothing. That's the most important thing. So I'm definitely going to take warmer clothing. Because the route is on cycle paths, it's not all the time you're passing stores. So although I've got 2 bottles here which I used, and I was keeping a little bottle in the centre here, I am going to get a little bottle cover for the back here as well, like another bottle cage. So I'll have 1 bottle there, 2 there, and then in the evenings when I've got all my warm gear on, it'll free up the space in the frame bag where I can actually put another bottle of water and a lot more extra food. So for me, it's going to be less aggressive bike. When I say aggressive, I'm going to bring, like I say, my handlebars up, seats doing nice. I'm not going to change the saddle, I'm going to use the same tyres as well. But yeah, warmer clothing is going to be the thing. Even if I'm melting in the day because I'm so warm, I'm taking really, really warm clothing. An ice thick jacket, full winter gloves, everything like that. I can still feel the chilblains on my hands from when I did that race. It was awful. I remember not having any feeling in my bottom 2 fingers for a very long time, more due to the cold than it was to sitting there holding my bike. So yeah, so that's the plan. Warmer clothing, more carrying of supplies, and a less aggressive bike. They're the changes I'll make. Obviously when I race this next time, I'll revisit the kit list, I'll revisit the setup for everyone, but it's all going to change. So thank you for the comment, and I hope this video helps.